Hey Chiefs Kingdom, buckle up, because the story after the final whistle might be bigger than the game itself. Reports say Lions safety Brian Branch and Chiefs wide receiver JuJu Smith-Schuster got into a heated post-game scuffle. No punches, no injuries, but enough chirping and shoving to set social media on fire. And anytime someone mixes it up with a Kansas City player, it becomes our story. Here on Kansas City Chiefs Today, we don't do drama for drama's sake. We do context, impact, and how this affects our team going forward. If you're riding with us on the daily, smash that subscribe button because we're pushing to 5,000 subs and each of you makes this community stronger. Quick reminder, this channel is for fan voice, fan emotion, and fan perspective. Let's talk about what really happened, what it means, and how the Chiefs channel this energy the right way. Post-game scrums happen. The emotions run hottest right when the clock hits 0, especially after a physical game between two teams that pride themselves on toughness. Brian Branch is a high-motor defensive back who plays right on the line, aggressive, chirpy, finishing the rep. JuJu Smith-Schuster is a big-bodied receiver who blocks with attitude and doesn't shy away from contact. When those play styles collide for 60 minutes, there's a good chance the conversation doesn't end with the handshake line. You'll see some jawing, maybe a shoulder brush, and then teammates step in. That's football anthropology, alpha competitors guarding their turf. For Kansas City, this is familiar territory. Being the measuring stick makes you the lightning rod. It matters that this wasn't in the middle of a drive. We're talking post-game, cooler heads starting to engage, security nearby, cameras everywhere. That context changes the implications. It's less about competitive advantage and more about optics, discipline, and how the league office views conduct after the final whistle. Layer in the human element. Throughout a game, DBs and WRs collect little receipts, hands to the chest at the line, a hard finish near the sideline, a word you didn't like in the pile. Those stick. When the horn sounds, pride still hums at full volume. That's often when the final receipt almost gets paid before cooler heads drag everyone away. And remember, this isn't unique to these two players. Cross-conference games carry extra spice because the tape is also an NFC-AFC measuring stick. You're not just defending your logo, you're defending your conference's reputation. That's why even a brief scuffle becomes a headline instead of just a footnote. First, let's talk locker room. A moment like this can either fracture a position group or tighten it. Veteran leaders in Kansas City know how to set the tone. You'll hear phrases like, handle your business between the lines, and we don't give teams free headlines. That's code for channeling fire into focus. Second, let's talk coaching. Andy Reid's culture has always been about composure and execution. If there's any film room correction from this dust up, it's about disengagement and awareness. Walk away, point to the scoreboard, and live to dominate the next snap, because the best payback is always the next W. Third, you consider league discipline. The NFL typically looks at post-game interactions through a strict lens. If there's any fine, it's likely small and symbolic, more about precedent than punishment. For Kansas City, the goal is to avoid distractions that create a ripple into Wednesday's install and Friday's focus periods. Fourth, the media arc. Today's cycle loves a clip you can watch 10 times in 6 seconds. But headlines fade if the team delivers clean, decisive football next week. The fastest way to turn a scuffle into a shrug is to march down the field on the opening drive, finish in the red zone, and let the scoreboard talk louder than any push and shove. Fifth, the chemistry question. Receivers and defensive backs spar verbally all game because the matchup is personal. Release versus jam, leverage versus separation, strength versus balance. JuJu's game thrives on physical routes, digs, and blocks that spring teammates. Branch thrives on blowing those plays up and making you feel him. That's a collision of philosophies, and sometimes the residue sticks after the horn. Sixth, consider the ripple on practice habits. Position coaches will emphasize finish, but they'll also emphasize separation between plays, literally walking away and resetting. You practice that muscle like any other. Helmets buckled, eyes forward, 2 claps, next rep. It sounds small, but that is the difference between a chippy game and a clean win. Seventh, leadership optics. Captains don't have to say a lot. One look in the huddle after something like this communicates the standard. Leaders know when to put an arm around a teammate and when to put a foot down. The message is simple: we're building toward January, not building a blooper reel. So how does Kansas City turn this into an on-field edge without crossing the line? Start with tempo. Early rhythm throws get the ball into space and make defenders tackle in the open field instead of at the line of scrimmage. That drains some of the bully ball from an aggressive secondary and makes them play sideline to sideline. Next, lean into formation variants. Use bunch and stack looks to create natural rubs that protect the release and force switch calls. If the defense wants to press with attitude, make them communicate through traffic. You can pair that with quick motion, jet, return, or short orbit, to get leverage before the snap so the route wins without the hand-fighting contest. Then, punish the overplay. When a safety is eager to crash down and set a tone, use double moves off slants and outs, or call a glance and go off RPO action. Even one explosive play forces the defense to rethink the chest puffing. Now their safeties get a half step more cautious, their corners play with eyes, and your offense owns the tempo. Don't forget the run game's role in de-escalation. A well-timed duo or counter can tell an aggressive safety, if you're going to meet us in the alley, be ready to tackle a fresh back behind pulling beef. That slows pass rush and keeps coverage honest. Physical football doesn't belong to one team, it's a language, and the Chiefs can be fluent when they want to be. And finally, discipline in the details. After the whistle, hands down and helmets forward. No extra swipes and no lingering stares. You set the next huddle faster than the opponent sets their narrative. That's how champions manage moments, by refusing to donate yardage, field position, or headlines. The best statement is a clean, efficient drive that ends in 6. One more note on situational calls. If the game tilts chippy, officials often tighten their lens on extracurriculars. Build that into your cadence. Hard counts, quick snaps, and decisive substitutions keep the defense reacting instead of instigating. You can out-organize a dust-up the same way you out-scheme a blitz. Chiefs Kingdom, let's talk about the timeline. Within minutes of the report, the memes started, the slow-motion breakdowns rolled in, and every national show lined up its take. Some will call it passion while others call it immaturity. The truth lives where it always does, in how the team responds on the field next week. Fans want two things: accountability and dominance. Say your piece, then show your work. We don't need a press tour. We need a precision game plan and 60 minutes of complimentary football. Win on 3rd and 5, win in the red zone, and win the turnover margin. That's the antidote to discourse. Here's the media trick too. When Kansas City is humming, the story becomes the poetry of the offense, the creativity of the design, and the defense closing with violent, legal tackles. When the team stumbles, a post-game dust-up becomes the symbol that fills the take shows. Don't give them material, give them highlights born from execution. And for the community, this is why we built this. Not to worship headlines, but to translate moments into football truth. If you love that approach, hit subscribe and bring a friend, because the road to 5,000 is paved by the smartest fans in football. Now zoom out to the playoff map. It's October football, and that means the standings are elastic but meaningful. Style points don't matter in January, but habits do. Habits about discipline, situational mastery, and emotional control travel into the postseason. Every week nudges seeding and tiebreakers. You can't afford mental penalties that hand over a free first down or a short field. And you can't afford a distraction cycle that steals 1% of prep from your next opponent. The Chiefs know the villain role, they know the standard, and they know that the smallest edges decide AFC crowns. Keep the main thing the main thing. Also, don't sleep on the cross-conference narrative. If you see Detroit again, it's only in February. That means you set the tone now, not with shoves, but with habits you can duplicate against any AFC defense. Tempo, spacing, and clean execution. So what do we actually take from a branch, JuJu dust-up? We take a reminder that competitors with pride push right up to the line. We take a lesson that post-whistle moments are tests of culture as much as football IQ. We take the reality that Kansas City wins the long game when we convert third downs, finish drives, and tackle in space. Leadership will make this a one-day story. The practice week will be about corrections, not controversies. Use the emotion, lose the extra stuff, and sharpen the game plan. The next opponent doesn't care about the clip. They care about your splits, your tendencies, and your ability to execute on money downs. That's where the Chiefs reassert who they are. And to the players? Protect your energy. It's a 5-month marathon layered on a 1-week sprint. Not everything deserves a response. The scoreboard is the loudest mic you'll ever have. When Kansas City speaks through points and stops, everyone else listens. That's going to do it for today's show on Kansas City Chiefs Today. We'll keep our eyes on any fallout, but the focus stays on the football and the standard. If you enjoyed this breakdown and you want daily Chiefs news, rumors, and honest fan talk, make sure you're subscribed. We're on the road to 5,000 and your support powers every episode. I appreciate you for watching and for keeping it classy in the comments. Drop your takes in the comments and join the road to 5,000 subs here on Kansas City Chiefs Today.